New at 4, the State Patrol putting more emphasis on enforcement in the I-41 construction zone, stretching through Brown and Outagamie counties after a number of recent crashes. Jason Zimmerman joins us in the studio live after speaking to both drivers and the State Patrol. Jason.
Cami, I asked the State Patrol how many crashes have occurred in the construction zone from the Wrightstown area to Grand Chute just in the past few months. They're working to provide us with that information along with the number of citations issued compared to a previous year before construction started. Drivers telling me the construction zone has become increasingly dangerous with people speeding and making illegal lane changes. That's been the biggest issue, but also drivers not paying attention and using their cell phones, which is against state law in a construction zone. And as we showed you last Tuesday, a 6-vehicle crash was especially bad, closing the highway. It happened just before 4 in the afternoon, involving one semi-tractor trailer, 2 pickup trucks, pulling trailers, and 3 passenger vehicles. The State Patrol says 2 patrol vehicles are now dedicated to the zone 24/7, and that's also for the safety of the workers doing construction.
It's important for drivers to really pay attention because there are changing lanes. There's workers not far off the traffic lanes. We just want everybody to get home safely. So pay attention, put your phone down, just take your time, plan a little extra time when you're having to drive through the construction.
It's just not a good situation out there at all right now. It's got people crashing into stuff because they're not paying attention and all the lane diversions, and I don't know. It'll be nice when it's done.
The message of the extra enforcement is not going away, with construction not scheduled to wrap up until that 23-mile stretch is complete. That's supposed to happen by 2030. Cami, back to you.